Hey guys, what's up? So today we're going to take a look at this Carpenter sales brochure. Now, I've done quite a few Carpenter sales brochure videos in the past, but this is one that I just recently added to my collection that I didn't have. So we'll go ahead and look through it. A lot of the pictures are probably about the same, but there's a few buses in here that weren't in the other ones, so we'll go ahead and take a look at it. So the first bus on the front cover is a Chevy. You can see it's North Lawrence Community Schools, and it looks like the number is A-12. And that has a lighted sign, so that's pretty cool. I would say this is probably an Indiana bus. But anyways, you can see it does actually have two outward opening doors, which is kind of cool for the time. Not something I feel like you would see a lot of. So on the bottom, you've got conventional, Corsair, Cavalier, Cadet. Now, opening up, we've got a Cadet, which I think these pictures were in other brochures I've done videos on, but there's your Carpenter Cadet, and then this Carpenter S-series, which this one I know has been in previous brochures, because if you can see, it says Stop State Law on the back. So this is an Ohio bus for sure. So those two, I think have been in other brochures, but I could be wrong. So here we've got the Corsair and the Cavalier. Now I know for a fact this Corsair photo has been in other brochures I've done videos on, as well as this picture of the Cavalier. So that's just one of those buses that just has a unique look to it, and I just love these older transits, you know, whether it's Carpenter, Ward, whoever, just transits of the 80s, man. I just always have liked the way they looked. Moving on, we've got the Carpenter Cadet, a Class 1 bus for the first class performance. There's your little Cadet right there, which I want to say this one's also been in a previous brochure, but I could be wrong. So here's your Cadet sizes. You've got a 19-footer, which could be a 22-passenger or an 18-passenger. Based on how you set it up. You've got the 21-footer, which could be a 27-passenger or a 22-passenger. And then you have a 23-footer, which could be a 32-passenger or a 26-passenger, depending how you set it up. Here's another look at a Carpenter Cadet from the side profile. The Carpenter Cadet, a small bus with big bus features. There's your cutaway of the Carpenter Cadet bus body. There's your interior shot of one of the heaters that the bus would have in the front. And then there's your Cadet's clear view. So it's showing you the difference between a conventional and a Cadet's line of sight. Now this next page here is for transporting the Handicapped. Now that is a Cadet in that photo. Cadet's high headroom permits easy and safe wheelchair entrance, even for mature students and adults. So in that picture, you can see the student in a wheelchair, and that actually has two outward opening doors. That's pretty cool. There's your picture of how the wheelchair would have been secured to the sidewall of the bus, which, you know, later turned out to not be the safest positioning of a wheelchair. There is a optional fold-up seat. So it says, the optional fold-up seat provides added seating in wheelchair-carrying Carpenter buses. When not in use, the seat automatically folds up, making room for a wheelchair. So that's pretty interesting. I don't know that I've noticed that in my other brochures, but it's possible it could have been there. Here we have that same bus from the front cover, just in a different setting. The North Lawrence Community Schools Chevy with the lighted sign and the four ways. Beautiful looking bus, and you know, at the time it would have been fairly new, so I mean, that yellow paint looks phenomenal. I'm used to seeing these older buses like this in junkyards, which even when they're in the junkyards, the paint honestly isn't too bad compared to today's buses when they fade, but still just a great picture. And one of my favorite things about sales brochures is seeing these older buses. Here is your standard Carpenter cutaway for the conventional, which that has been in previous brochures for sure. And a lot of these pictures, like the bumper, the underfloor, the sidewall, and the structure, the roof bows, and all that, how that's made, a lot of that has appeared in other Carpenter brochures. Here's your full page bus. It says Carpenter, the safest link between home and school. So this one is a Ford. So you've got your front half and then your back half. Interesting thing is you can see that they spec this with 2 big windows in the front. That's an interesting look, to say the least. And it looks like those seats have the white top to them with their color. Most of the time when you see those large windows, like on buses of today, it's one at the front and one at the back. But it just goes to show you there were so many different floor plans you could have done, and spacing of the body. So that's pretty cool. Here's that S-series from the front, and this one, I know this one's been in other brochures I've done, but you got your stop state law, and it looks like it's got a plate on it, so I'd be curious to know if, I don't think there's an ID number under that plate. It's kind of hard to tell. It almost looks like there's something under it, but I could be wrong. This photo probably was taken before the bus was delivered, if I had to guess, but still, really cool photo. Here is this photo of a Carpenter body being set down on a S-series chassis. The Carpenter body, a shield of steel to protect your students. So, pretty sure that photo has also been in previous brochures I've looked at. Back here, you've just got your Carpenter doors and windows, which, all of these are pretty much the same throughout all the brochures. And there's your back. You can see that same S-series with the plate on it. Stop state law is clearly readable. Here's your view out of the front of a bus. Looks like that is also an S-series. There's your front view of the Ford with your different windshield options. There's your Corsair and the Cavalier. Carpenter takes the front seat and safety. So here's your section on seats, your cutaway of a seat, driver's seat, and then the barriers between the driver's seat and the passenger seats. There's that S-series again. This time it's got its lights on and stop sign out. Looks like that one has a one in, one out door, which is kind of like that S-series Carpenter that's at the junkyard I used to go to from Springfield and Clark County. Here's the 5-step process. Locks in, lasting finish. So maybe that's why these buses still look good for their age. Alkaline wash, second zinc coating, primer coat, acrylic enamel, and baked finish. And there's a picture of somebody spraying a bus. And then the undercoating. Dynothermatic heating is the key to passenger comfort. Now this one right here, this is a Carpenter Lodestar fiberglass hood. Stop state law with the backing sign. And this one is Fairfield City School District. You'll also note that that bus has 4 ways instead of 8 ways, so that dates that bus. It was a pre-78 bus, because that's when Ohio started requiring 8 ways. But Fairfield is somewhat local to me, so that bus would have been on roads down in my part of Ohio. Here's your look at the heater console and your switch panel at the top, but your console next to the driver, all the different heaters and where they'd be on the bus, and there's your windshield for defrosting, and then there's your diagram of how heat will travel through the bus. Tailor a Carpenter to fit your needs. So here's all your optional specs, which again, these spec photos don't really change between the brochures, so those have all been in brochures I've done before. There's your Carpenter with a wheelchair lift. That's either a GM, I want to say, yeah, that looks like a Chevy emblem, so that's a Chevy chassis. That's also been in brochures I've done before. And then your Carpenter specifications on the last page there. And then on the back cover, we've got that Ford that we saw in the brochure. So that is another good looking bus. I mean, they just, man, they do not build buses like they used to. And then let's see, you've got, for whatever your school transportation need, there's a Carpenter bus to do the job. Carpenter Body Works Inc., Mitchell, Indiana 47446. And then this was distributed by Snyder Body Inc. in Maryland. So that's pretty cool. Like I said, Carpenter brochure. This one is one I did not have, so went ahead and added it to the collection and also shared it with you guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think, and yeah.